adopted by many cities across Tennessee. The ordinance's specific purpose was to prohibit weapons on city property, which did not include streets, sidewalks, or private property. On October 20th, 2009, a special call meeting was held specifically regarding the Tennessee Main Street program. At the meeting, as is the common practice, all ordinances previously considered were placed on the consent agenda for an additional reading. The motion was made by Councilman Dean and seconded by Councilman Wyatt. The vote was 3 ayes, 0 noes, with Councilman Dewar and Kerley absent. At the February 10th, 2009 meeting, the weapons ordinance was not put on the agenda. During the city manager's report, Councilman Kerley asked why it was not on the agenda. The city manager reported that because of some questions raised about verbiage in the proposed ordinance, it was being reviewed by MTAS and the city attorney, and any further action was being delayed. Councilman Kerley made a motion to abolish the weapons ordinance. The motion did not receive a second. At this meeting, all members were present with the exception of Councilman Wyatt. At the March 10th, 2009 meeting, an item was placed by all 5 members of the council, matters relative to opposition of weapons ordinance for third and final reading. Mayor Graham stated that he put the motion on the floor for the purpose of discussion only. He read into the minutes an open letter to the citizens he had prepared stating that he would not support the third and final reading of the ordinance and the reasons why he had come to that conclusion. A motion was made by Mayor Graham, seconded by Councilman Dean, that the weapons ordinance be put on the floor for passage. The vote was 0 ayes, 4 noes, with Councilman Kerley absent. Personnel policy. The current policy was revised September the 8th, 2009. This revision has been underway for about 5 years with the assistance of MTAS to bring our policy in line with current federal law and court cases. The previous policy was last revised in June 1996. In the revision, a policy on workplace violence was added, as well as several other policies, at the initiation of MTAS for the protection of the city and potential personnel issues. This policy was written by MTAS, reviewed by MTAS attorneys, reviewed by the city attorney, reviewed by the personnel board, and reviewed and adopted by the city council. MTAS attorney Josh Jones states, "I know of no other city in Tennessee which allows firearms in their city hall." The motion to adopt the personnel policy was made by Councilman Wyatt, seconded by Councilman Dean. The vote was 4 ayes, with Councilman Kerley absent, and I signed this memo.
Now, the ad stated that Mayor Graham voted yes all 3 times. He did, in fact, but the last time it came up, it was against doing anything about it, finalizing the gun ordinance. And we all voted yes. We realized that it wasn't the proper thing to do, and Mayor Graham read a letter to us with his feelings in regards to it at that time. And I mentioned before that I'd asked our city manager to look into these ads, and he has done so and given us the approved minutes of all of this verbiage you've heard tonight. And I want to ask the city manager if all of this, you found all of this to be true, what we've read, and should there be any corrections to these minutes?
I found all the information you asked me, then Ms. Owens. We got you a copy of the minutes.
The minutes back up everything that we went over here tonight, sir.
The minutes stand for themselves.
That's all I have.
Mr. Kerley. First of all, I'd like to start out before I answer some of these ads here. In my opinion, this is the most unethical and unprofessional action I've witnessed yet on the part of Mayor Graham and Councilman Wyatt. By bringing this political item up, you are only working for the benefit of yourselves and retain your status on this council. This meeting is intended to do the people's business in, and this is far from the people's business. These are political issues that I have brought to the public's attention that I feel strongly about. You have used city resources to respond back to issues in a political race. Mayor Graham needs to answer these issues in a professional manner outside of a council meeting. First ad that talks about the public relations. The figures that Councilman White gave you are incorrect. he forgot to add the 07-08 budget year, which is $3,300, and he forgot also to add the Crossville Life magazines that the individual was paid for, totaling over $43,000. As far as, it says all the purchase orders of these services originated from the Marketing and Public Relations Director. Ted Meadows has told me, the previous city manager, he never approved any of these orders. Billy Loggins has told me numerous times now that he never directed any of these job duties. The next,
Mr. Loggins here?
are you interrupting me?
No, I'm not interrupting
Okay.
you.
The next one here talks about the rental property. I've got the bid here for Councilman Wyatt.
I have a copy of all this, so I don't need any of that.
All right, where you stated here in the minutes from September 8th that they also would provide internet
We're
and a
not talking
receptionist.
about, you're out of order, Mayor. I recommend that he don't have a right to speak about any of this except what I have talked about and what was in these ads.
This is defending my ad.
Well, the ad says
The
that
ad
without
is
obtaining
about
sealed bids.
If you can talk about the bids being sealed or
That's what I'm
not,
going to talk about if you'll let me.
no, you're bringing all kind of other verbiage into it.
No, where I'm going with this bid right here says, does it say that there's a receptionist going to be supplied in this bid? Because
That
if that's
has nothing to
so,
do-
this is another bid that was not turned in sealed. Whenever you brought it up in the council meeting that he was going to provide other services that was not put into this bid, that means that was not entered into in a sealed bid.
That is
This
not
is
so.
your words from
I
the council
disagree.
meeting. Well, that's my opinion, that's your opinion. The next one,
You just want to try to muddy things up to get out of the problem you're
I'm
in.
just telling the facts. I'm not in any problems, am I? Am I in trouble?
I think you are.
Okay. I'll move on since I'm getting interrupted when they was mad or accused me of interrupting them a minute ago. As far as the waste management, it has never been bid. Veolia has never rebid their contract. Our charter states that a contract over $5,000 is to be rebid. If we would have rebid our contract, and I've got a letter here, if I can find it amongst all this, from Bristol, the city of Bristol, it states in one of their memos from their public works director that Severn Trent's proposal will save the city $458,000 over the current annual operating costs provided by Veolia Water. So by them rebidding their contract, saved them nearly $500,000. If we could have rebid our contract and give somebody else the opportunity to outbid them, it would have saved us from having to increase our water and sewer rates. As far as that's the rest of them I'm addressing. On the gun stuff, the first two times that it was read, that it was brought up, no discussion was made on it according to these minutes. Whenever I brought it, and the second time that it was brought up, I was not invited to the meeting. I was not informed that the meeting was going to go on, and if I could attend the meeting that was held that morning on January 20th. As far as the February meeting, it was not added because of all the hostility that it caused to the public. As far as the next time that it was brought up, I was again not asked if I was going to be able to attend the meeting due to my work schedule. I'm finished.
Ms. Oglesby, it's been brought to our attention that Mr. Kerley was not invited to these meetings. Is that the case?
I would have to go back and pull the calls, but certainly calls were sent around, but I don't.
I was
those in front
called
of
and
me.
told that a meeting had been scheduled is all I was called. With my job, I have to plan. And when somebody just calls and says this meeting's been scheduled for this date, I have to attend my meetings that I've already previously scheduled.
There's 4 other people, sir, that
Hey,
have to be considered when these meetings are taking place.
when I don't even get a phone call, I can back it up on my phone records. I have one phone number that's a cell phone number. I can go back on these dates and show that I did not get a phone call from the man that scheduled these meetings.
Now, you've read a letter from former city manager. It's outrageous.
I just brought it to the show. I didn't read it.
Yeah.
If you want to read it, you can read it.
He was discharged from city manager up here because of misappropriating funds and not following procedures. And then you want to bring a letter up here from him with all kind of garbage here on it about me and the mayor. Totally out of order in my opinion.
If you say who the city manager is, I want to get that, don't want to reflect on another person.
Pardon me, sir?
Which city?
Who the city manager is, the one you're talking about, the letter was.
I think it's signed by Jack Miller, isn't it, Councilman?
Sure was.
I want to make sure it wasn't Mr. Meadows. That's
No,
who-
no.
Oh.
No, Mr. Meadows, he mentioned too that Mr. Meadows hadn't ever instructed Don Napier doing any work. I don't want to go much farther than that, but Don has emails from Mr. Meadows stating and asking him to do certain items. And it's unfortunate that it's come to this tonight, but as I stated earlier, in my opinion, the ads were an attack really on the city employees, the city council, and the minutes will back all of this up. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Do you have a motion, Mr. Wyatt, in regard to the correctness of the minutes, or do you feel like they have been approved? I think all of us have approved the minutes in the previous meeting, so do you have any further action that needs to be taken? Dr. Dewar, do you have any further action or comments?
My only comment is that this is what comes about negative advertising. You can pick on people about nothing and make something potentially big out of it. My wife was in the state legislature for 18 years. She never once ran a negative ad against anybody. She was reelected all but one time when they did, and every time they put all the negative ads against her. So all I'm saying is, in politics, I know that's what you're supposed to do. That's what they say on CNN and all the stations. Make up anything, do anything, make something big out of nothing. But it all comes down to getting into these sort of controversies when you do it. If you just run on your own merits of what you can do and think you can do and tell the truth, you'll do all right.
I'd like to state that I feel like I've just brought the issues in my ads, and I'd like to ask Councilman Wyatt and Councilman Dewar if they're going to be publicly supporting J.H. Graham and giving him endorsement throughout the next couple of weeks.
I certainly am,
Okay?
and I wrote a letter which everybody got in the mail probably today, and I wrote it myself. I decided to write it. Nobody told me to write it. And my whole issue was who can run Crossville the best in the next 4 years. It was nothing personal. I like Jesse, but this is a complicated thing up here. It's very complicated. I would hate to take it on myself. Not that I'm that smart or dumb, but it's involved. It's a thing goes on every day. Something coming up. And Jesse was talking about he couldn't make the meetings because he's working. All I understand that, but I am supporting Mayor Graham. But it won't be in. I'm not doing anything against Jesse. I didn't say a word in that letter about Jesse. I said that I thought it's imperative we re-elect J.H. because of all the things involved in the city. But it was nothing negative in my letter. And I'll never say anything negative about Jesse. And I won't by any other candidate.
Your comments, Councilman Wyatt?
I want everyone to know that I endorse Mayor Graham for re-election. And the reason is, he's the best choice. He's been here, he's worked hard for the city, he's got a lot of projects going we need to finish, and it would be foolish, in my opinion, to change horses in the middle of the stream, so to speak. Now, I really got no problem with Jesse except these ads. But when he starts putting this negative stuff in these ads, it's a reflection on all of the city employees, the city council, and I object to it.
So noted. Further comments?